But what are three books you've read that you like?
So this one, this guy, he had The Brief History of the Future by Atali.
Hmm.
This is the world. This is like brilliant. He talks about cryptocurrency and how companies are going to issue their own cryptocurrency and like what's going to happen with the poor and the welfare state um, and how people respond to neoliberalism and the markets. And this was a guy. He was an insider. He like worked at the I think like the World Bank, and he was the advisor um, to the to the president of France, and he was one of the people that helped establish the European Union. So this guy Atali, he's one of the big. He has some really good books actually. He has one on music uh, and things like that. And but his but this talks about the world and where we're going,
Hmm.
and it's not this world where everyone thinks we're going to have this democracy and everything's going to become like America. What's happening is America is becoming like Africa or Brazil. We're not going forward to this utopia where everyone's living in peace and singing kumbaya and democracy. We're heading towards totalitarianism, towards fascism, towards people killing each other on the street for the race. Like this hasn't happened in the United States for ever, right? We haven't had lynch, but the media and the forces at work here are dividing people to the point that they're ready to kill each other on the street. So America is becoming a divided country, and it's not becoming a unified country. And the democracy that happens in America isn't actually occurring abroad. What's happening is America is becoming more like Brazil or Africa. It's so the West is becoming like Africa. Africa is not becoming like the West. So he talks about these political trends in the 1990, even 30 years ago, and it is really a prophet. And there's another book called Darwin Among the Machines, which is more about our development of our technology and computing, driven by the military and driven by warfare, and where we're going in terms of that. And that book is very interesting. Those are definitely the
Okay.
top three.
All right.
And
Well,
then
good list.
what is
You have a few more?
yeah, there was I don't it's just too dark. I don't even want to talk about it. it,
Yeah. All right.
the
Well,
direction we're going is very dark. It's more like when you see like mafias and organized crime taking over governments and
mhm.
things like the government's supposed to be policing these people, but instead you see criminal groups running governments. I think in 10 or 20 years, people will say like, yeah, the mafia, like, yeah, the government's run by organized crime, and you see like, mafia accountants and things being put into the White House and things like that. And people are realizing they're losing trust in the Congress, they're losing trust in the media, they're losing trust in the medical system. They see that everything is owned by a small oligarchy. They see everything as just a bunch of special interests trying to exploit them. And they see that there's actually no one working for the public good. People want to believe, like herein says, that there's people secretly working in the shadows for you, and they're really trying to fix the problem. And to some extent, that might be true, but the reality is the people who are actually working for the humanity and working for the public good, they have so little power. And the groups they're up against are so powerful. They have so many billions of dollars, so many hundred of thousands of people that the martyrs, the people really trying to do what's good for the majority, what's good for the American public, what's good for the people, they're going to be crushed and annihilated. And eventually people are even going to give up on the idea that there's anyone in the government or the Congress or the FDA or the corporations that are doing anything to benefit anyone but themselves. And right now they still have this naive idealism that these people are working for you instead of working for themselves, and that idealism is going to die, and that's going to be very sad. But once that idealism dies, then we get together and we say, this is how the world actually is. Now what do we do about it? Instead of believing that Jesus is going to return to earth and save us, or some secret QAnon people in the White House are going to fix our problems, and that are actually secretly working for us, and they're not. They're not. Every single person in the government, in these corporations, in the banks, are trying to screw you. And it's sad, But once you understand that, then you can react and plan your life and protect your family and protect your community and start trying to find solutions. But as long as people believe someone else is going to fix these problems for me, nothing's going to happen. So this is one of the disillusionment that we're facing, as we're being confronted with a very uncomfortable reality. So and it's dark. I don't even like talking about it because it's depressing. But if you look, crypto was a response to this. It was a response to the Federal Reserve. It was a response to the bail-ins, and that's also why this next crisis in banking and next financial crisis and economic crisis is going to be the biggest boom in crypto. It's because when people see these problems, they're going to start looking around for solutions. And one of the solutions is going to be decentralization. And not only decentralization, it's going to be communities creating their own cryptocurrencies. It's going to be communities growing their own food, building their own infrastructure. It's going to be parts of countries breaking off to create their own regions, like Catalonia and Quebec. You're going to see a proliferation of separatist movements. And we're already seeing that in the U.S. with CalExit and these Silicon Valley billionaires wanting to break California off from the United States and create its own country. You know, that we're seeing power being relocalized to the. So what we're seeing is the biggest financial, economic, military, political transition in human history. We're seeing a system that was built up over hundreds of years being torn down, being destroyed, and now we have to look to the replacement. We're not going to go, and people are going back, and they're trying to go back to religion, or they're trying to go back to white nationalism, or they're trying to go back to racialism, or go back to Hitler or something, and they think that's going to solve our problem, and that they can go back to some previous system to fix our problems, because they see the current system has problems. They say, let's go back to the previous system, but it's not going to work. We actually have to look forward to what the future system is going to be. And so we have this it's really just crazy. We're going to go through a dark period. A lot of people are going to suffer, and then we have to create solutions, and we have to fix it. And I unfortunately, I was on the leading edge of that. I was always 10 years ahead of all the social trends. Like I was in the Bitcoin when it was at a penny, and I was in, things like involved or related to WikiLeaks and things like that. And I was always in these things early, and I always saw these things coming because I would just talk to people, and you could really see what they were saying, what information they had. But if you're just looking at the media, they don't tell you anything. But you talk to people, and you talk to people in the government, and you talk to people in the media, and the things that they can't say publicly. And you go to the meetings, you go to Davos, you just talk to people, and the corporations, they tell you what's happening in the world. And when you have that perspective, it's crisis. And I think we have to start looking beyond crisis and beyond just like, let's get angry and riot and kill each other on the street, because it's not going to solve our problems. And in some way, I think a lot of the public is distracted. They say like they want blacks and whites killing each other on the street. That's what they want, because it distracts you from the fact that, our economic system is broken. Oh, our Congress is corrupt. Oh, our media is corrupt. Oh, none of these political parties have a solution to our problems, right? So they're just like, let's distract them, keep them busy while we continue stealing. So the whole objective of the system is to keep people distracted and busy so they can keep running the way that they have been running without actually fixing any of the problems. And the other thing is, as soon as anyone comes in to fix these problems, they're going to get attacked, killed, assassinated, removed. If you look at Trump, when Trump came in and he tried to change the way that they said hospitals have to publish their price list. The media, they come in with $30 billion, $100 billion trying to take him down because they're going to lose money on this. And so he wants to, the hospital has to publish their price list. Why is it such a big deal? Because now you can say this hospital is 30% cheaper than that one, so you can choose. But they say, no, so you can't publish the price list. So you imagine you go in the hospital, and they don't tell you how much they're going to charge you until afterwards. When you go in a restaurant, they give you a menu, and they tell you how much you're going to get charged if you order a hamburger. But you go to a hospital, you ask for a price list, they won't give it to you. And they're not required. So they say, you have to publish the price list. And they say, no, we don't want that. Why would we give them the price list? Right? We like the way the things are. So as soon as you try to change anything, these people are going to lose hundreds of billions of dollars a year off it. They're going to come in and they're going to do everything they can to destroy you. So if you look at Caesar in Rome, he came in, he chased the corrupt Senate out of Rome, and he said, I'm going to fix the problems. And what happened was all the senators and his friends ganged up on him, and they stabbed him. And they'd say, who killed Caesar? Everyone killed Caesar. There wasn't a single person who didn't stab him in the back. And this is what's happening with Trump. It's what happens with every single person who comes into the system and tries to change it. So so what's going to happen is we have to get to the level where the crisis is so bad that we're forced to change or we die. So this is what's really psychologically and at the fundamental level. This is what is driving crypto and what's driving the Yellow Jacket protests and driving this and that. And it's really dark. So the problem I've had for the last few years is just looking at society and looking at where we're going, and every year getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and then seeing that no one has a solution. That we know that these problems exist, but we don't have an alternative. People cannot imagine an alternative to the current economic model that we have, or the current way that things are run. It's impossible for them to even imagine that there could be another way of doing things. So I don't even want to recommend some of the, like Martin Krivald, he wrote a book called The Rise and Decline of the State. And he says that mafias and criminal cartels are going to take over governments. And we saw that in Mexico, and we see it happening. But do people really want to believe that their government is run by some mafia drug cartel? Like, do they really want to? No, they want to believe that the government is working for them and that it's doing what's in the interest of the public. But then you look at you just open your eyes and you see, like, in this country, in this country, in this country, and then he says the whole world is going in that direction. It's not only in Mexico, but in the United States and in Europe. And then you say, well, what does that mean? Like, what is that? Does it mean our government is a failure? That our system of governance doesn't work? That it can't? That our political system can't solve these problems we have? And if it can't, what's the alternative? Is it communism? Do you want to live under a dictatorship? And the answer is no. But so I don't know. So it just don't ask me what books to read.
All right. Well, I think we'll end there. I mean, it's definitely been good.